10 strangers, each invited to a secluded island, each hiding a secret they swore no one would ever know. But one by one, they start to die. Who brought them here? Who's pulling the strings? And most chilling of all, who will be the last one left alive?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to BookPodCastZone. I'm Emma.
And I'm John.
It's a real pleasure to be here. And wow, what a fascinating labyrinth of human psychology and just ingenious plotting we get to explore today.
Absolutely. Today we're taking a deep dive into one of the most iconic and frankly chilling mysteries ever penned. Agatha Christie's 1939 masterpiece, And Then There Were None. If you've ever found yourself captivated by a story where isolation just breeds paranoia, where secrets refuse to stay buried, and where unbelievably a child's rhyme becomes a blueprint for murder, well then, you are absolutely in for a treat.
You really are. It's a masterclass.
Our mission today is to unpack this gripping tale. We're not just going chapter by chapter, but trying to truly extract those crucial nuggets of knowledge and insight. We'll explore its key ideas, its really powerful historical context, and the brilliant storytelling innovations that have cemented its place as, a cornerstone of the mystery genre. Our goal is to give you a shortcut to understanding why this novel continues to captivate readers, even decades later, how it pushed the boundaries of what a detective story could actually be. Okay, let's unpack this first part. Our journey and the chilling narrative of And There Were None. It begins with 10 seemingly unconnected individuals.
Right.
Completely unconnected, on the surface at least.
Exactly. Each one receives this mysterious, kind of vaguely unsettling invitation to Soldier Island, which is this remote, isolated rock off the Devon coast.
Sounds idyllic, but not quite.
Not quite. And what immediately strikes you, even in these initial introductions, is the sheer variety of these characters. It's almost like a carefully curated, maybe deeply sinister dinner party guest list. It really is. You've got all of these different types.
We're introduced to figures who, on the surface, represent different strata and archetypes of British society at the time. There's the calculating, seemingly infallible Justice Wargrave, a retired judge with this, formidable reputation.
A bit reptilian, even.
A bit. Then you have the reckless, pleasure-seeking Anthony Marston, a young man who just seems devoid of empathy.
Completely carefree, or maybe careless is the word.
And then the guilt-ridden Vera Claythorne, a former governess who is clearly haunted by a past tragedy. We sense that immediately.
Yes, that hangs over her from the start.
They come from different walks of life. They have different expectations. Some are drawn by promises of work or maybe just socializing. Others perhaps sense an opportunity, or they're just following these really cryptic directives in their letters.
And Christie makes it clear they have these distinct personalities that, they clash almost immediately, don't they? Right from that awkward train journey, the boat trip over.
Yeah, you feel that tension building already, planting those early seeds of discord and unease. But what's truly fascinating here, and so clever, is how Christie doesn't just bring these disparate people together. She masterfully plants a seed of dread right from the very start, long before any crime is even committed. And she does it with the ominous presence of this eerie nursery rhyme, 10 little soldier boys.
Oh, the rhyme, yes.
What is the immediate sort of visceral impact of using that nursery rhyme? And how does Christie use it to begin constructing the psychological trap that just defines the entire novel?
Well, the nursery rhyme, as a narrative device, it's absolutely ingenious. I mean, it really is. It's not just some, cute little verse tacked on. Christie takes something inherently innocent, something associated with childhood, simplicity.
Right, something harmless.
Exactly. And she twists it into this chilling, macabre prophecy. It becomes a blueprint for death. It lays out the exact sequence and sometimes even hints at the methods by which each character will eventually perish.
Which is just horrifying when you think about it.
It is, because this device immediately establishes a profound sense of, predestination. An inescapable dread. It's a psychological trap because the victims, and by extension you, the listener, are made aware of their impending doom. They know the pattern.
They have the list, essentially.
They have the list. They see the pieces of the puzzle. They even have the exact sequence of events laid out for them in this childish rhyme hanging in their rooms. But they are utterly powerless to stop its grim progression. And that knowledge, rather than offering any comfort or way out, becomes a source of just exquisite psychological torture.
And the timing, 1939. That feels significant too, doesn't
Oh,
it?
hugely significant. Written right on the cusp of World War II, the novel deeply reflects the anxieties of that interwar period. I mean, this era, this fragile pause between two devastating world wars, it was ripe with this pervasive sense of unease. Unease about trust, about hidden motives, about the moral compromises people had made.
Especially after the trauma of World War One.
Exactly. Society was still reeling from that trauma. Think about how people were grappling with the unseen psychological burdens, the unacknowledged secrets, the unpunished sins, and how those might manifest under pressure. There was this collective societal unease, a profound suspicion about what people might be hiding beneath the surface of polite society.
Fueled by political tensions, economic instability.
All of it. Christie taps directly into this collective anxiety, and her initial character sketches are just critical here. She gives us just enough glimpses into their distinct personalities, their hinted flaws, their greed, their recklessness, their past mistakes, their moral failings, to immediately create this dynamic of mistrust among them.
Even before the big reveal on the gramophone.
Yes, even before the crimes are explicitly revealed, just by how they interact, their prejudices, their immediate judgments of one another. And each character's invitation, remember, is uniquely crafted to lure them specifically. They feel personal and foreboding, as the source material puts it.
Right, like Wargrave is drawn by gossip, Vera by a job.
Exactly. These specific yet manipulative invitations immediately draw you into their individual anxieties and, frankly, their questionable motivations for even accepting.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Consider this. What would compel you to go to a remote island based on a cryptic invitation? Especially if it felt even slightly off, or if the host was conspicuously absent.
It's a great question. It forces you to question the character's initial motivations, their willingness perhaps to ignore what, in hindsight, seem like absolutely glaring red flags.
Yeah, this initial setup isn't just exposition, is it? It's a brilliant foundation for the entire psychological unraveling that follows. It kind of makes the reader complicit in their fateful journey.
Perfectly put. You're hooked from the moment they get those letters.
So the guests, having somehow overcome their initial suspicions, or maybe just ignored them for the promise of a, pleasant break,
Or maybe driven by something else entirely.
perhaps, they finally arrive on this isolated soldier island, and immediately something feels profoundly off. The mysterious hosts, Mr. and Mrs. U.N. Owen. I mean, that name itself, unknown.
A bit on the nose, but effective.
Very effective. They are conspicuously absent. Instead, they're met by this strange, somewhat unsettling couple, Mr. and Mrs. Rogers, who serve as the household staff.
Right, the butler and the cookhouse keeper.
And they're just there, performing duties almost robotic in their efficiency, completely lacking any personal warmth or the welcoming touch you might expect.
It immediately amps up that feeling of being cut off, doesn't it? Adrift, detached, physically and metaphorically.
Completely. That sense of isolation starts to settle in almost immediately. It's like this subtle chill before the real storm hits. And then this unsettling quiet of their arrival is just dramatically shattered by that infamous gramophone recording.
The voice. Chilling.
It's this disembodied voice, cold, precise, coming from a hidden player, and it accuses each and every guest by name of a specific grave past crime. Many of them acts of murder or at least complicity in death that crucially went unpunished by the law.
Skeletons tumbling out of the closet en masse.
Exactly. Our analysis shows the delivery is designed to be utterly chilling. And I can only imagine the shock, the horror that must have ripped through that elegant dining room, turning polite society instantly into this den of suspicion and fear.
It's a bombshell moment.
How does this gramophone twist fundamentally shift the tone? It goes from just unease to outright terror, doesn't it? And what role does this extreme, inescapable isolation play in amplifying the suspense, making the situation even more dire for everyone involved, including you, the listener?
Okay, so this moment, the gramophone accusation, it's truly a pivotal masterstroke. It functions not merely as a clever plot device to, reveal backstory efficiently.
Yeah, what does that too?
Oh, it does, but it's more than that. It's a brilliant psychological weapon. It instantly transforms this group of uneasy strangers who might have otherwise, maybe, slowly started to build some fragile trust or even camaraderie into a circle of mutually suspicious individuals.
Everyone is implicated.
Everyone. Each person is now not only acutely aware of their own dark secret being exposed to everyone else present, but they're also privy to everyone else's darkest secrets. The tone shifts brutally and dramatically from that subtle, polite unease which was already there, let's be honest, to outright terror, rampant paranoia, and this palpable sense of betrayal.
Everyone's exposed. Everyone's vulnerable.
And everyone is suddenly a potential threat. Plus, the revelation of these past unpunished crimes immediately establishes the killer's apparent motive, this twisted form of vigilante justice.
Right. They're being judged.
Exactly. Now, the isolated setting is absolutely crucial here. It's far more than just a picturesque backdrop. Christie's contemporary audience, especially in 1930s Britain, they had this deep fascination with Gothic mysteries, remote locations, atmospheric setting.
The whole locked room idea expanded.
Precisely. This island fits perfectly within that tradition, but she elevates it. Remote locations inherently amplify suspense because they create this inescapable claustrophobic environment. There's no phone line to the mainland that works reliably, no way to signal for help, the boat doesn't come back.
No escape.
No escape, no external police force to call upon. The island isn't just a backdrop, it becomes a literal pressure cooker, a microcosm where societal rules and norms just quickly erode under duress. It forces the characters and critically, you, the listener, to confront their own assumptions about human nature. What are people truly capable of when cornered, when stripped of all external support?
The environment itself becomes an antagonist.
In a way, yes. It actively contributes to their psychological torment. And Christie also subtly weaves in class dynamics through the Rogers' subservience, doesn't she?
Yeah, the staff versus the guests.
They are the working class staff, seemingly beneath suspicion initially, serving the accused elite. This contrast complicates the group's internal struggles and suspicions, especially later, when the lines between who is serving and who is suspect begin to blur dramatically. Even the Rogerses, despite their lower social standing, become objects of suspicion.
Because they're trapped there too.
They are. This constant tension, this claustrophobia, this lack of escape, it's absolutely palpable, and it's key in keeping you hooked, making you feel just as trapped as the characters.
Imagine being completely cut off, stranded on a remote rock, no escape, surrounded by people just publicly accused of terrible crimes, maybe murder, and then realizing one of them must be a killer. Or worse, that you're next on some list based on a nursery rhyme.
It's nightmare fuel. That deep sense of being trapped with no recourse creates this oppressive atmosphere that Christie just masterfully maintains throughout the entire novel. Every creak of the house, every passing shadow becomes a source of fear.
And then the inevitable happens. The first death occurs. It's a horrifying validation of the gramophone's accusation and, chillingly, the nursery rhyme's ominous prediction. Anthony Marston, the reckless one. He chokes on his drink, mirroring that first verse. One choked his little self. It's not just a sudden tragedy. It's this terrifying immediate confirmation that the chilling verses are indeed coming true, that a killer is among them, and that absolutely no one is safe.
The game just got very real.
Extremely real. This is where suspicion truly escalates. It becomes a matter of literal life and death. The group is now grappling with the terrifying reality that one of them is a murderer, meticulously following this rhyme.
And the denials start to sound pretty hollow.
Exactly. With this pivotal moment, Christie powerfully introduces the theme of guilt. Characters are forced to reflect on, or maybe desperately deny, their accused crimes. How does this initial death fundamentally change the group's dynamics? It shifts them from mere distrust and unease to active, visceral fear, doesn't it? Primal survival instincts kicking in.
Oh, absolutely. What's fascinating and terrifying is the sheer speed and brutality of that transition. They go from initial skepticism, maybe some polite discomfort about the gramophone, to outright panic and this profound, bone-deep fear.
There's no explaining this away.
None. The first death isn't just a tragedy or some bizarre coincidence. It unequivocally validates the gramophone's threat and the nursery rhyme's terrifyingly precise power. Dynamics shift almost immediately, violently. They go from strained, polite interactions to overt suspicion, rampant paranoia, outright terror.
Looking over their shoulders constantly.
Constantly, each character now looks at their neighbor not just as a fellow guest, but as a potential killer. Or perhaps even more terrifyingly, as the next victim. Trust, which was already fragile, becomes an absolute luxury no one can afford. Everyone is suddenly an enemy in this lethal game.
And that theme of guilt you mentioned,
Yeah.
It becomes central now, doesn't it?
It really does. The novel's deep exploration of guilt ties directly to the intellectual and psychological currents of the 1930s. Remember, this era saw a significant rise in psychological theories. Concepts like repressed emotions, Freudian psychoanalysis, the profound burden of past transgressions, These were incredibly popular literary themes.
So Christie isn't just writing a murder mystery.
Not at all. She's meticulously dissecting the moral burden of these past actions, how they manifest under extreme pressure. We see characters forced to confront their complicity, their justifications, the immense emotional weight of what they did, some maybe with remorse, others with just defiant denial. This psychological excavation adds immense depth. It moves beyond a simple puzzle into a profound study of the human conscience.
And the nursery rhyme. Why is it such an effective device, not just for the plot, but for their psychological unravelings, like a relentless countdown?
It's groundbreaking as a narrative device, honestly. It elevates the suspense beyond conventional means. It blends the absolute innocence of childhood, something familiar and non-threatening, with the stark horror of premeditated murder. This creates a macabre predictability that, paradoxically, heightens the suspense.
Because you know it's coming, but not how or who.
Precisely. You, the listener, along with the characters, you know the pattern. You know the next death is coming, but you don't know who will be next or exactly how it will unfold, which is the true genius of it. Each death, as our analysis shows, feels both inevitable and surprising. The method is often unexpected, even if the victim's turn was foreshadowed by the rhyme.
It keeps you constantly guessing, constantly dreading.
Yes, constantly trying to solve the puzzle ahead of the characters. It creates this relentless, almost torturous countdown. And it forces you to think about justice, too, doesn't it?
Definitely. Are these deaths just punishment for past crimes that the law missed? Is it some kind of divine retribution or something far more sinister and human?
It forces you to confront the very idea of deservedness. And perhaps more disturbingly, who gets to decide what deserved truly means when conventional justice has apparently failed? It's a moral labyrinth as much as a mystery novel.
Pushing you to question right and wrong and the dangerous allure of self-appointed justice.
Exactly. It's incredibly thought-provoking on that level, too.
Okay, so as the bodies tragically pile up and each death is this chilling echo of the nursery rhyme, the group's paranoia intensifies exponentially.
It really spirals, doesn't it?
It does. The initial shock gives way to this creeping horror, then just outright terror. With each new victim, the circle of suspects tightens. The number of survivors dwindles, leaving everyone trapped, and everyone who's left is now a plausible killer.
And a potential victim.
And a potential victim, absolutely. Christie, with her masterful hand, really tightens the psychological screws here. She deepens our understanding of each character's past, not through, lengthy flashbacks or confessions.
No, it's much more subtle than that.
It is. It's through their raw reactions, their desperate denials, their increasingly erratic behavior, and their fervent attempts to deflect blame onto others. The tension becomes almost unbearable. It's like this suffocating blanket of dread descends on the island.
You feel it as you read.
You do. Now, this masterful setup, where a limited number of suspects are trapped together, defines what our analysis highlights, as Christie pioneering the closed circle mystery. This isn't just a setting choice. It's a specific and highly effective subgenre she perfected.
She really set the standard.
How does she manage to balance suspicion so effectively among the remaining characters? How does she make each one seem equally plausible as the killer, right up until the very end, keeping the reader perpetually guessing?
Well, the closed circle mystery, as you said, is where you have this limited number of suspects confined, isolated, and one of them is the killer. Christie masters this by meticulously crafting each remaining character's potential alibi, their implied motive, and their visceral reaction to the unfolding horror.
She gives you just enough for each one.
Exactly. Just enough tantalizing information, maybe a nervous twitch, an overly strong denial, a suspicious glance, a fleeting moment where they seem caught out to make each person seem incredibly guilty at some point. But then simultaneously, she gives them moments of vulnerability or apparent innocence, making you constantly question your own judgment.
So you're constantly shifting who you suspect.
Constantly. It's this brilliant push and pull of evidence and counter-evidence, of suspicion and doubt. It keeps you guessing with every single turn of the page. It really is like a deadly game of musical chairs where every remaining person could be the murderer.
And this was happening during a time when detective fiction was really taking off, right? The 1930s.
Absolutely. It was booming. And Christie's genius lay in her profound focus on deep psychological manipulation and observation. That was a key factor in her innovation and her unparalleled success. This isn't just about a simple whodunit. It's a profound study of human behavior under immense, almost unimaginable stress.
They're not just trying to survive, they're trying to figure it out.
Yes, and trying to outwit each other. To identify the killer among them. while simultaneously protecting their own deeply buried secrets, the very secrets the gramophone exposed. This intricate web of fear, self-preservation, and mutual accusation creates this relentless, suffocating tension that permeates every conversation, every silent moment. There's just no room for respite.
And we learn so much about their past through their reactions, don't we?
We really do. Not through a narrator just telling us, but through their raw, immediate reactions to the accusations, to the overwhelming fear, and to the horrific deaths themselves. Their denial, their escalating panic, their desperate attempts to deflect blame, all these actions peel back layers. They reveal the depths of their individual guilt and, ironically, their shared humanity under this extreme duress.
Like Vera Claythorne's nightmares versus Lombard's cynicism.
Exactly. Those contrasts show the different ways guilt manifests. It forces you to question who you would trust or distrust in such a nightmarish scenario. It makes the experience incredibly immersive and personal.
You find yourself actively trying to solve the puzzle right alongside them, sifting through their words, their actions, constantly shifting your suspicion.
I like it for that one tell, that one slip up.
It's an immersive experience where you, the listener, you feel as trapped by the limited information and the mounting paranoia as the characters are by the physical island. Christie brilliantly turns you into a co-detective, perpetually on edge.
Constantly trying to piece together the truth before the next verse of that damn rhyme claims another victim. It's just a masterclass in psychological engagement.
So more deaths tragically follow, each one mirroring the nursery rhymes verses with this chilling, almost surgical precision. It's relentless.
But the predictability becomes part of the horror, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That predictability, paradoxically, makes each death even more terrifying. The dwindling survivors are now truly struggling, desperately trying to identify the killer. Alliances are forming purely out of desperation.
And then shattering just as quickly.
Exactly. Because trust is just. It's a commodity that's increasingly scarce and incredibly dangerous to offer. The psychological strain is immense, it's palpable, and it's leading to visible signs of breakdown in the characters.
You see them starting to crack.
Definitely. Now, our analysis points out that Christie, through these escalating and meticulously planned killings, is profoundly exploring these complex themes of justice and retribution. She's asking deep, uncomfortable questions about whether the guilty truly deserve such a horrific, systematic punishment.
It pushes boundaries there.
How does the nursery rhyme continue to structure this escalating suspense, making each death both anticipated and yet somehow shockingly brutal? And what profound, maybe unsettling statement do you think Christie is ultimately making about the very nature of justice through these systematic killings, especially considering the turbulent historical context?
Well, the nursery rhyme, at this stage, it acts as both that predictive tool and, even more potently, as a psychological tormentor. For the characters, and for you, the listener, its very simplicity makes the escalating horror feel even more profound, more stark.
It's inescapable.
It transforms the narrative into this relentless, inescapable countdown. Each verse ticks off another victim, leaving the survivors in the state of constant gnawing dread. They know the next death is coming, they know the pattern will be fulfilled, but they don't know when or exactly how it will strike. That keeps the suspense at an excruciating level.
Like a macabre game of musical chairs where the music never stops.
Exactly. Until only one is left. And even then, silence might not bring peace. The rhyme becomes this mental prison, forcing the characters to constantly reevaluate their own positions in this grim procession.
And this is where the moral ambiguity really hits hard, right?
This is precisely where it comes into play, and it's a brilliant reflection of its time. The 1930s, as we've touched on, saw intense debates about justice, morality, vigilantism. In the wake of World War I, there was this widespread sense, maybe, that many had escaped true accountability for their actions.
That the legal systems weren't always sufficient.
Exactly. A feeling that legal systems might not always deliver true justice for certain societal wrongs. There was perhaps a yearning for retribution, a desire to see those who had committed crimes, maybe crimes of omission or commission but escaped legal punishment, finally face some kind of reckoning.
And the killer here embodies that desire. In a twisted way.
In the most twisted way possible. The killer, and then there were. None believes they are meting out exactly that kind of justice, delivering this highly personalized, brutal, systematic form of punishment for past crimes that conventional legal systems couldn't or wouldn't prosecute. They are taking on the ultimate role. Judge, jury, and executioner, utterly convinced of their own moral righteousness.
Which raises that incredibly important and unsettling question.
Does a horrific crime from the past, even if it went unpunished by law, justify an equally horrific premeditated justice outside the law? Christie forces you, the reader, to confront these incredibly difficult ethical dilemmas.
It's not about whether these people are technically innocent.
No, they clearly aren't, by the killer's standards, and often by their own admissions under pressure. Their guilt is established. But the question is whether this specific form of retribution is acceptable. Or does it ultimately make the killer no better, perhaps even worse, than their victims?
Is the murderer just an extension of a broken legal system, or a symbol of its utter failure?
It challenges the very foundation of what we understand as moral and legal rectitude. It pushes the boundaries of what a mystery novel could explore at that time. It's incredibly bold.
So you, as the listener, you're left to wrestle with what justice truly means when the lines between right and wrong become so profoundly blurred.
The novel offers no easy answers at all. It's a powerful, disturbing exploration of human nature under extreme pressure. It forces you to consider the complexities of guilt, punishment, and the dangerous allure of taking matters into one's own hands when the system seems to fail.
It really challenges your own moral compass.
Definitely. And that's why it resonates so long after you finish it.
Okay, so as the body count relentlessly rises, dwindling the group down to just a desperate few, the remaining guests are spiraling. It's sheer, unadulterated desperation now.
The breaking point is near, or maybe past for some.
Absolutely. That veneer of civility, which was already pretty thin, it completely shatters. Christie, with her acute psychological insight, really tightens the screws here. She pushes characters to confront their deep-seated guilt, or maybe their defiant refusal to acknowledge it, in these extreme, raw, often ugly ways.
It truly is a pressure cooker of fear, mistrust, and, well, burgeoning madness.
Yeah, where every sound, every shadow, every fleeting expression on another person's face becomes a source of profound terror and potential threat. The very air they breathe seems to thicken with dread.
You can almost feel it.
How does Christie so effectively portray this psychological collapse? It's not just that they're scared. They seem to be genuinely unraveling, losing their grip on reality, on sanity.
She does it through various masterful means, painting this vivid and harrowing picture. We see it in the detailed descriptions of their physical deterioration, their exhaustion, their disheveled appearances, the raw terror in their eyes, the nervous habits they develop.
It's physical as well as mental.
Absolutely. And beyond that, she shows their increasingly irrational decision-making. They're escalating, often completely unfounded accusations against each other, and their desperate, often futile attempts to find solace or some kind of escape, even when there clearly is none.
Like Vera becoming almost hysterical, clinging to superstition.
Exactly. While others maybe descend into this cold, calculating paranoia, it mirrors that 1930s fascination with mental strain and breakdown, influenced by the burgeoning fields of early psychoanalysis. She brilliantly demonstrates how even the most composed, outwardly respectable individuals can just break under relentless, inescapable pressure.
Their composure crumbles, their facades shatter.
And their true, often ugly selves are revealed, stripped bare by fear.
And the island setting. You mentioned it being a pressure cooker. Why is it so incredibly effective in amplifying this specific kind of suspense, making each moment feel so urgent, so fraught with danger? It really feels like the island itself is an active participant in their torment.
It really does. The island's isolation isn't just about preventing physical escape, is it? It's about eliminating all external distractions, any glimmer of hope for outside intervention. There's no news from the outside world, no possibility of rescue, no one to trust beyond the increasingly terrified and suspicious few who remain.
It forces them inward.
Completely. It forces characters inward, magnifying their guilt, their paranoia, their frantic self-preservation instincts. The metaphor of a pressure cooker is so apt. The heat is the terror, the lid is the isolation, and the contents are the characters just stewing in their own fears and suspicions with absolutely no vent for relief.
And the tension isn't just in peaks. It's sustained.
It's sustained over multiple chapters because there's literally no relief, only this constant gnawing fear that grows with each passing hour and each new horrifying death. It's a masterclass in claustrophobic suspense where the environment itself becomes a character, contributing actively to the psychological torment, forcing introspection and confession that might never occur otherwise.
Imagine being in that situation, where every shadow seems to hide a killer and every glance from a fellow survivor feels like an accusation. Or worse, a sign that you might be next.
It's almost unbearable to contemplate. You feel the characters' desperation right alongside them, their frayed nerves, their dwindling hope, the terrible weight of their own consciences pressing down.
That immersive feeling is really testament to Christie's pacing, isn't it? Her ability to build that atmosphere of dread that just never lets up.
Never lets up. It holds you captive until the very, very end. The island itself becomes this silent, malevolent force trapping and observing its victims.
Chilling. And then, the inevitable. The final deaths unfold, leading us to a truly shocking and frankly utterly ingenious revelation about the killer's identity and their complex, meticulously planned motives.
The moment everyone waits for.
Exactly. Christie, with her unparalleled mastery of plot, ties up that chilling nursery rhyme motif in a way that absolutely redefines the entire story. It's not just a simple reveal, it's a profound recontextualization of everything that has come before. It forces you to completely reevaluate every assumption, every character, every interaction you've witnessed.
It flips everything on its head.
It really does. Our analysis points out that themes of justice, guilt, and morality reach their absolute peak here, culminating in this stunning conclusion. How does this twist reshape our understanding of everything that's come before, forcing us to reevaluate every character, every interaction, every suspicion we held so confidently just moments before?
Well, this twist is absolutely a hallmark of 1930s detective fiction, but Christie elevates it to a true art form. She solidifies her reputation as the absolute master of misdirection here. It's not just a surprise, it's a carefully constructed narrative bombshell.
It forces you to rethink everything.
Everything. Every preceding event, every character interaction, every fleeting glance, every single suspicion you had entertained. The brilliance lies in how she hides the killer in plain sight, using misdirection, subtle hints you probably missed, and profound psychological insight to divert your attention constantly.
She plays fair, though, doesn't she? The clues are there.
Oh, absolutely. She plays fair with the clues, but manipulates your perceptions so cleverly that the solution feels both completely obvious in retrospect, you kick yourself for missing it, and utterly stunning at the moment of revelation. It's a testament to her ability to manipulate reader expectations without ever actually cheating them.
And the killer's motives, when revealed, they really amplify that debate about vigilante justice, don't they?
They really do. They amplify that intense debate that resonated so strongly with those post-war moral questions. The individual takes it upon themselves to be judge, jury, and executioner for those who, in their view, escaped conventional legal punishment.
It's not just revenge. It's presented as a form of justice.
Exactly. A cold, calculated attempt to correct perceived societal failings. To impose this twisted personal morality over the shortcomings of conventional law. It's a dark, unyielding vision of absolute retribution, an assertion of this dangerous, self-appointed authority.
It forces us to confront the terrifying implications of individuals taking justice into their own hands.
No matter how justified they might feel their actions are. It challenges the very concept of due process and lawful punishment in a really profound way.
So what makes the resolution so memorable? It satisfies intellectually, but it's also stunning.
It's memorable precisely because it is so audacious, so bold, and so perfectly executed. It satisfies intellectually because all the pieces just click into place. The seemingly impossible sequence of deaths becomes chillingly logical, meticulously planned. You see the intricate clockwork behind it all.
But it leaves you feeling uneasy.
It does. It leaves you with this profound and lingering sense of disquiet. It challenges your deeply held notions of justice and human nature. It's not a neat, comforting ending where good unequivocally triumphs. It reverberates with moral complexity and this haunting sense of the killer's grim determination. The sheer cleverness of the execution leaves an indelible mark.
You, the listener, you're just left in awe of Christie's plotting prowess, aren't you?
Completely. It's the kind of ending that makes you immediately want to go back, reread the book, but with this fresh perspective, looking for all the subtle clues you missed the first time around the seemingly innocent details that suddenly take on this incredibly sinister meaning.
It's a truly aha moment.
A huge aha moment that sticks with you. It transforms your entire perception of the preceding events and solidifies its place as a classic, not just of the genre, but of literature itself.
But the story doesn't quite end with that climax on Soldier Island, does it? It leaves the reader with this profound sense of resolution yet. There are these lingering questions.
Right, the epilogue is crucial.
It is. It's a crucial component, often overlooked maybe, but vital to the novel's enduring impact. It reveals how the mystery is ultimately uncovered by the authorities, tying up those seemingly impossible loose ends. Yet, remarkably, it deliberately leaves some crucial ambiguity. It doesn't wrap everything up in a perfectly neat, tidy bow.
No, Christie resists that temptation.
She does. And in this final section, she reflects on the enduring nature of justice, the profound human cost of guilt, leaving us, the listeners, with this set of lingering, thought-provoking questions that go far beyond just simple plot resolution. How did this epilogue, by shifting focus from the victims on the island to the meticulous investigation by the authorities, and finally revealing the how behind the seemingly impossible crime, how does that address the story's overarching themes of justice and guilt, but from a different, more detached angle?
Well, that shift in focus to the methodical investigation, it mirrors that 1930s fascination with detailed detective work, forensic science even. Remember, this was a period influenced by real-life forensic cases, Scotland Yard's growing prominence, their increasingly sophisticated methods.
So it grounds the fantastical elements.
Exactly. It provides a logical framework for how such an impossible crime, with no survivors left to tell the tale, could eventually be solved. It adds this layer of stark realism to the otherwise fantastical and macabre premise. It anchors the extraordinary events in a tangible process of deduction and discovery, showing that even seemingly perfect crimes can leave traces, however faint.
It provides that intellectual satisfaction, answering the how-done-it after the who-done-it.
Precisely. But then there's the ambiguity you mentioned. Why do you think Christie chose to leave some questions unanswered, rather than giving us that neat, tidy conclusion? Our analysis calls this move ahead of its time for the mystery genre.
Yeah, it feels very modern in that way.
It really does. Christie's choice to leave some questions unanswered is, as the analysis notes, brilliant and genuinely ahead of its time. It reinforces the profound idea that true justice isn't always clean-cut, that it often comes with a heavy price, and that the human cost of guilt can ripple far beyond the immediate victims, affecting even those who merely uncover the truth much later.
It avoids easy answers.
Completely. By not resolving every single detail, by allowing certain elements, perhaps the killer's ultimate state of mind, or the precise feelings of the investigators, to remain tantalizingly ambiguous, it prevents the reader from comfortably closing the book and just moving on. Instead, it allows the powerful themes, moral ambiguity, the complexities of human psychology, the elusive nature of absolute justice to linger.
Rather than being neatly tied up in a bow.
Exactly. It's a far more haunting and thought-provoking conclusion precisely because of that unresolved resonance. It stays with you.
So you are left to ponder the deeper implications. Long after the narrative itself concludes, does the killer's extreme form of justice truly bring peace, either to the killer themselves or to the memory of their victims?
What are the long-term consequences of such extreme acts? Not just for those involved, but for society's understanding of right and wrong and the role of law.
Does the punishment fit the crime when delivered outside the boundaries of the legal system?
It's a powerful final thought that invites you to continue reflecting on the story's profound themes, its dark mirror on humanity, long after the last word is spoken. It prompts you to consider the nuanced shades of culpability and retribution. Hashtag outro.
Wow, what an incredible, chilling journey we've taken through. And then there were none. From those cryptic invitations and the suffocating isolation of Soldier Island,
To the chilling precision of that nursery rhyme.
and the profound exploration of guilt, justice, and the very limits of human endurance. It's a story that truly digs deep into the darkest corners of the human psyche.
It really does. It challenges our assumptions about morality, about the nature of crime, and about what lies beneath the polite veneer of society.
It remains a timeless masterpiece for a very good reason.
Absolutely.
So, as you reflect on this mesmerizing, unsettling tale, consider this. If confronted with your own past, with the hidden secrets you've kept buried, and the ultimate judgment, whether by others or perhaps just by your own conscience, how would you face that reckoning? Does true justice always require retribution, a pound for a pound? Or can some forms of guilt truly be their own unending punishment? A silent torment that never ceases, a prison built within the mind.
It's a powerful question. And it's a testament to Christie's unparalleled genius that even without a traditional detective character driving the immediate narrative on the island, that relentless pursuit of justice, however twisted and personal it becomes, drives every single heartbeat of the story. It forces us to look inward, at our own definitions of right and wrong, and to question the very foundations of accountability and that fine, dangerous line between justice and vengeance.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you gained a fresh perspective and some truly insightful nuggets from one of the greatest mystery novels of all time.
It was a pleasure discussing it.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep deep diving into the stories that shape our understanding of the world.